see if they have fresh itineraries out there? Well, one of y'all can do it for this one. Okay. Let's do it. Short and sweet.
Let me ask her to move.
All right, everybody, let's get in place if we can. Thank you.
Let me get started. And
Wow. Hear myself out there sounds spooky. All right, everybody, let's call to order the May the 11th meeting of the Mobile County Commission. I'm going to give us a quick prayer and then a pledge of allegiance, and then I think we have a couple of special guests here with us this morning that's going to speak. So if you would rise. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for keeping us under your protective hand through this pandemic. Lord, we ask for your guidance. We ask that we receive your wisdom and make the decisions that are best for this county. Lord, I pray for all elected officials, Lord, that you protect them and give them words of wisdom. In Christ's name I pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Carr, could all of us get another agenda because
Yes. Could we get a new agenda for all three commissioners? I've got one. The other two commissioners, let me rephrase that. I had nothing on my desk.
I didn't either.
We were here early too, weren't we? Mm-hmm. While we're getting that, well, there's Dina now. Dina, do we have any speakers? Yeah.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good
Yes,
morning.
you do have speakers. First up is Judge Don Davis, Probate Court.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. I'm here with regard to
If I could get you to go to the microphone, I'd appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Good morning again, Commissioners. I'm here with regard to the sneeze shield matter that's on your agenda. I can wait till that comes up if you are.
If you don't mind, Judge, I know you got other things to do. If you'd like to go ahead and address it now, that will be fine with me, unless there's an objection. I certainly don't see one up here, so.
Okay, Commissioners, as a follow-up to from the conference session the other day, members of county administration, as well as Rushing Payne from my administrative team, met with representatives of Alabama Florida Plastics, and there has been dialogue with them. They also, as I appreciate it, reviewed other sources, potential sources for sneeze shields, and the other sources of sneeze shields were viewed as being not appropriate because of their design. It would not truly accomplish what we're seeking. So the proposal before you today, as I appreciate it, is back to Alabama Florida Plastics proposal, which is modified in a sense. There are new figures. There are two examples that are down on the floor now on my left-hand side that I think each of you now have had a chance to look at individually or scan individually here in the last few minutes before the meeting. The preferable version from the court standpoint is the 36-inch wide version. What we propose, so it'd be a little bit wider than, there's a 32-inch and a 36-inch. We recommend the 36-inch wide proposal. We recommend, I want to applaud and thank Alabama Florida Plastics for coming up with some mock examples on short notice for us. The models that they have, we believe, need to be shortened a little bit, and also the base legs need to be widened to facilitate greater stability. And then we've also suggested that the internal cutout for the window, so to speak, be shortened a little bit from 10 inches to 8 inches. I'm very pleased with what they've been able to do and what they're proposing, and I commend it to you. We're looking at, since the conference meeting the other day, the governor has modified or entered a new emergency proclamation that officially gives probate judges of all Alabama counties the ability to reduce the number of poll workers. I forwarded that email that I got to each of you last week, and I hope that you got it. We are looking, based on our revised poll worker numbers, we estimate at this point in time that we would need 588 of the screen shields. I think the proposal, as I appreciate it, is to ask you to approve up to 1,000, and I think we're looking at 600 as an initial purchase. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have, to the best I can.
You want us to leave it at 1,000 versus cutting it back to 600? To leave you a little bit of flexibility so you don't have to come back to us?
I think the concept is we're looking at not only utilizing these sneeze shields for the runoff election, but also for the general election.
Oh, yeah.
In November. And in November, when we can get through the runoff, then we need to start shifting gears and looking at what we're going to do in November, because we're expecting very heavy turnout in November of voters.
So go ahead and plan for the 1,000.
I think that's the concept, and that's what I understood county administration was recommending as well. I would defer to Mr. Hodge and his staff.
Yep, okay. All right, so we'll leave it as is. And one thing I would encourage you, Don, when you get, Judge, I'm sorry, when you get one of these finished, or even take one of these models and peel the tape and get somebody masked up and get in behind it and take some good pictures, that will help us maybe do some recruiting for some poll workers.
I've got all kinds of plans in store
Okay,
for that.
good.
Thank you for the suggestion.
See, Mike's not on. Is the price that was in the original proposal is $146 each? Is that?
The price now, Commissioner, from the information furnished to me for the 36-inch version that I'm recommending is $157.25 per unit. If we purchase 600 at this time, the math is $94,350.
Okay. Thank you.
I would also note that Mr. Lance Coven, the principal of Alabama Florida Plastics, is here again. I want to thank him for him and his staff. He's got some staff outside as well for their efforts in the last few days. And I also want to thank county administration and my staff as well for all the work they've done since Thursday to flesh all this out further for us.
Fantastic.
I don't know if you have any questions, Mr. Coven. I'll defer to him if you do.
I don't.
I would like to speak on this also. Administration was greatly interested in this design because it's much more easier to transport, and so we pick up a lot by being able to use this design versus the wooden frame design that we were looking at last week. And I do want to mirror the thanks to Alabama Florida Plastics, because they really worked hard to get the pricing and a design in front of us. But as we discussed it this morning with the judge and some others, we realized that we need to still make some further modifications to this size, as the judge spoke to. So we don't have a firm price, because I think we should give the vendor an opportunity to go back and review what these additional design modifications will do to the pricing. So what we suggest doing is to approve this item pending an agreed upon price and configuration. So far, we are happy with the price. We think it's a fair price. It's certainly in line with some of the others that we have seen, but I think it would be unfair to hold the vendor to this price today, considering what further considerations need to be made. So if we could change that item, I think that would allow us to still move forward quickly.
But we're not talking about any significant increase. We're talking about minor design modifications, correct?
No, it should be some give and take. I think we're going to maybe shorten the overall height, but reducing materials, but we're going to add on in some others. So I can't say it's going to be a no net increase, but we do need to give him the opportunity to review that to get it right.
Okay.
So this is going to be pricing to be determined.
Yes.
Okay.
But still up to 1,000 units, with the intent being the first order would be for 600.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else on this issue? All right. That's number 16, I believe.
Do we want to take that one out
Yeah.
of order, maybe?
Yeah, well, we'd like to go ahead and vote on that one. Glenn, let's do number 16. Price to be determined.
Number 16, approve proposal for Alabama Florida Plastics to provide up to 1,000 tabletop sneeze guards made entirely of polycarbonate to protect poll workers and voters at the polling sites for July 14, 2020 primary runoff election for probate court due to the COVID-19 pandemic, pending legal review and size determination and pricing.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Lance.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Lance, would you like to get these? You want to leave them here with us for a while?
Did you want to take those with you as a sample? Okay, yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. By all means.
I agree. I'll meet with Rushing and the judge.
Dina, do we have any other speakers?
Yes, Commissioner. Okay. Eddie Kerr, Deputy Administrator.
Good morning again, Eddie.
All right. Administration wanted to give a slight update to the current situation in regards to the governor's Safer at Home order as it currently is and how that relates to county operations. So I just want to go over a few points just to make sure y'all are aware of the new requirements. While we did lessen a lot of the restrictions, there are some things that are continued to be restricted as part of the order, and wanted to make sure the commissioners were aware of that. These really fall into two categories. One is employee protection, and then one is how it relates to the public interacting with the county and the departmental operation. So as far as the employee protection, where practicable, we are still to maintain 6 feet between employees, perform regular disinfection, prevent sick employees from contacting others, and facilitate remote working arrangements where practicable, and also minimize travel. To a large degree, we have been doing this and will continue to be doing this. The addition to that is that we hoped as soon as this week to have some additional no-touch thermometers in which we will be monitoring employees and others really as they enter the building to make sure that we can identify those who may be sick and get them segregated from the other employees. So that's where we sit on the employee side. As far as looking at how we modify how the public is interacting with county operations, there's a few points I want to touch on. One, regarding this current order, we are still required to protect the public by maintaining 6 feet of separation and to regularly disinfect. We have been doing this. We will continue to be doing this. We have ordered a thermal camera system to set up at the entrances to help identify those who are sick as they enter the building, and we hope to have that in place by the time that jury trials commence. That is in the works.
How does that work, a thermal camera system?
There is maybe if Tyler is out there listening, he can come in and speak to it, but we are looking at a camera system that identifies, it reads facial temperature and helps identify those who may have. Because when we get to a point of handheld thermometers, that's a lot of people when jury trials come back online, and being able to do that will really slow down people getting in. So the thermal imaging is a way to address that.
They had one on 60 Minutes last night at Amazon. Wasn't it Amazon?
I saw that, yeah. Any temperature change shows up redder and redder and redder.
So anyone entering the building would be required to pass before the thermal
Right.
camera?
Yeah, and it does multiple people at one time, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And it is a combination of thermal camera and software that helps identify who those persons would be.
But it reads it from the face?
That is correct.
Okay.
How many of you got? One? What, is it just one for the side entrance over here?
I think we would set up one for each entrance, Commissioner.
So 3?
Yes, sir.
Okay. A cost?
We're in the process of bidding those, but the preliminary costs were about $15,000 for the whole setup for each unit. That's
cheaper than I thought.
the camera, the software, and the monitors.
Thank you.
Okay.
And if we're able to get reimbursements, that would be a reimbursable item related to COVID.
Fantastic. Anything else?
And then just wrapping up, let you know that department directors are currently doing assessments for their departments to help identify their state of readiness on resuming normal operations as far as public interacting with their departments, and also to identify what resources they need to do that. They will be turning those back into administration this week, and we'll be updating the commissioner soon on our ability to fully open for all public and what degree we're ready to do so. Regarding parks, the governor's order does still require that we prohibit access to playground equipment and that we prohibit team sports that cannot maintain social distancing or use shared equipment as part of the sports activity. So we will be factoring that into how parks reopen. And then the last thing is just a reminder that senior citizen centers are still to remain closed with the exception of curbside and delivery of meals. So that's where we are currently regarding how the order fits into county operations.
You know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Take away the jail as far as the outbreaks. The county as a whole has done a fantastic job of keeping numbers down. I think we may have had one staff, the commission, that tested positive, and that's it. So it's really been, we've really done a great job, and I think the whole staff should be commended for that. Good job. All right. Dana, any more?
Yes, we have Martha McLean Woodard, agenda item number 31, about a property line.
Is that in the engineering? What number is it in engineering?
6E.
6? Thank you. Is it Miss Woodard?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. I can't see your face, but good morning.
That's good.
Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not.
That'll make your day easier.
Okay. How can we help you?
I'm from Citronelle, and I have some property adjoining this property that they've just bringing forth today to you. I just want to ensure there's nobody encroaching on my property. I've had a real bad situation on the 40 on the other side of me, opposite from them, going down Holloman Road, and come home to them cutting down a bunch of trees on the tree line. I just don't want that to happen on this side of me. They had a stick in my front yard about 6 weeks ago. And someone has stole a lot of stuff from my property over last year, but I had failed, broke my shoulder and my arm in 3 places.
Oh, good Lord.
And was kind of immobile to go out there. And I just don't want to have any issues with this at all. I'm back and forth now trying to get things going back, and someone kept removing my no trespassing signs. So I bit the bullet and got me some purple paint to ensure that my property line was, they didn't take the signs down. I don't know if there's a problem whatsoever with this. I'm hoping not. I hope I wasted a trip down here. But it was important enough for me to take off work and come down here today to ensure my things that were stressing me.
Well, I would really doubt that, and Brian, you might be able to speak to this, I would really doubt that we would remove a no trespassing sign. That's just something we don't do now. Brian may be able to speak on, as far as the stakes on the road. Would you help us out on that?
Yes, Commissioners, the stakes that I believe she's referring to would be survey stakes set by the surveyor delineating property corners, we believe. This is a little less than 8 acres being divided up into 2 lots. It's kind of in a rural area, we believe. I don't know that we can really address some of the concerns that she has as far as encroaching upon property lines. That's really a civil matter between property owners. We don't see a problem with the plat moving forward, though.
I'm sorry, you don't see a problem with what?
With the approval of the plat as it is presented to us.
According to the plat.
According to the plat, there doesn't appear to be any issues as far as property line disputes. We really can't tell that.
So nothing has really occurred yet, Ms. Woodard, to indicate that there is any encroachment other than signs being, the stakes being removed and that sort of thing?
Okay.
And,
I was hoping that's how it would be, and I assumed it was maybe children, because there's a vehicle out there also that somebody went in 2 weeks ago and busted the front windshield out for whatever reason.
and I also notice here, is this this right-of-way, is it 50 foot further in than what it's marked here? What's the dotted line? In 50?
That's your building setback line, Commissioner?
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So would that be where that stake's at that she's talking about?
I don't believe so. We normally see stakes set out there at the right-of-way line,
So you know what the
delineating where the
right-of-way
property
is
line
on this one?
Yeah, so this is a 60-foot right-of-way, so basically about 30 feet from the center line of the road should be where that
Okay.
stake
There
would
is
be.
a county-maintained road right off of Boothtown that fronts it, runs beside me and in front of me on one corner, and it's established, it's maintained to the second driveway coming into mine, so that's no problem. Or they could go in the other side as well.
Well, it never fails when we start working with right-of-ways. Over the years, people's fences will either move up or move back, just by putting a new fence up a foot. And if it's on the right-of-way, everyone thinks that's where it's supposed to go until it's surveyed. And we deal with a lot of those fences that are in the wrong place, and we try to work with the owners as best we can.
Okay.
So that stake on that corner closest to the road is going to actually be the corner of your property, if I had to guess.
I've been told for 46 years now that I've been there that that's not where it's at.
Okay. Well, not being able to see the stake, I can't say it for definite sure, but I just had mine surveyed, and I was a little surprised where mine was at.
Do you have a survey of your property that was done?
No, I didn't. I had the regular land plat from it, and the man that owned the property beside me was Mr. Oliver Bird, and he passed away. But he come out there and showed me also where it was, and then when he passed, it went to his 5 stepdaughters. And it's been up for sale for a good while.
Well,
Not real sure how long or anything.
I guess the only way to know for absolute certainty where your property line is
Yes.
to have a survey done.
That
So,
would be correct, Commissioner.
I mean, because a lot of times things are assumed over many years and it's just taken as fact, and it may not be. So the only way to absolutely determine where the property line is a survey. That would be a safety net for you to fall back on to know exactly that.
Well, on a limited Social Security income at 69, almost 70, it's not just something you can go and afford to get when you toss
I
up
understand.
between your
Brian, do you have any other
bills and
recommendations?
stuff.
Not at this time, Commissioner.
I don't know what else we can offer you. I mean, again.
I just want to ensure that I'm okay and don't need to worry about it. I
Well,
really-
the only thing we can assure you that the lines themselves are drawn and documented here in our records. If you dispute the lines, or if they dispute the lines, either side has got the opportunity to go to civil court and
Okay.
actually dispute that line. We can't show you where that line's at.
Okay.
I mean,
fair.
that's a civil issue. As far as them clearing property, there's no ordinances in the county that says they can't clear property. Whether it's just to clean up underbrush for homestead, or actually, for property owners, or if it's to actually build a home on. That's just ordinances and guidelines that are outside our normal, what we're allowed to do.
Okay.
But I would trust those survey markers. I truly would, because those are professionals that are out there shooting that. I doubted mine, and I paid for a second person to come out and do it, and it was exactly where he said it was. So sometimes not, and I was shocked. Part of my yard disappeared.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had that issue in the town of, sort of kind of where I'm at now in town. The fence line was, when I had a survey that this last home I bought, my property went over 3 feet into their yard, but they couldn't have got into their house if
Yeah.
I'd have, and I told them just not worry about it, because
Yeah, it's amazing how the houses shift on those property lines when
Yeah.
they're built. But
it didn't matter to me. I didn't want to.
But as it is right now, I mean, there's no real objection from our engineering. Everything's pretty much the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
So
that's a
we'll
shame.
follow through with it. But thank you for coming down and expressing your fears and your thoughts. We need to hear that.
I appreciate your time, sir.
All
I
right.
really do. And ladies,
Thank you.
Take care.
I'm a
Thank you,
little
Ms.
nervous.
Woodard. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
You made my day. I was nervous.
Oh, no, don't worry about that.
I'm taking your girl with me. She's so sweet.
Oh, Dina?
Okay, Commissioners, that was your last speaker.
All right, thank you. Glenn, can we get started?
Yes, Commissioner. Number 1, approve the minutes of the regular meeting of April 13, 2020 and April 28, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Number 2, approve the list of claims.
So moved.
Second.
Number 3, Commissioners, Nair is going to be holding a presentation, so we're going to hold this to the end after the add-ons.
Thank you.
Number 4, approve the contract with JG Bag Inc. Home Inspection Services for the Grants Department for 1-year term, renewable annually for a total of 3 years at the option of the county, and authorize the President of the Commission to execute the contract on behalf of Mobile County.
So moved.
Second.
Number 5, approve application for transfer of off-premise retail beer and table wine license from GB Operations Inc. to Candenu LLC.
So moved.
Second.
Number 6, approve request of the Sheriff's Office to increase vehicle fleet from 229 vehicles to 237 vehicles due to an increase of deputy positions and also include vehicles as follows.
So moved.
Second.
Number 7 was voted at the conference. Number 8, adopt a resolution changing the voting location at polling site number 12, Satsuma High School, to First Baptist Church of Satsuma, effective July 14, 2020, primary runoff election.
So moved.
Second.
Number 9, adopt a resolution changing the voting location at polling site number 6, Citronelle Recreation Center, to Memorial Baptist Church, effective July 14, 2020, primary runoff election.
Is
So
that the
moved.
correct number? Is 6 the correct number for this polling site, or is it supposed to be 2?
You mean polling site number 6?
Uh-huh.
I'll have to check on that, Commissioner.
We got an email from Cynthia, and I think she said this should be polling site 2. I think that should be that this is polling site 2 and not.
I'll verify that.
We'll approve it with the correct polling site.
Okay. Second.
Number 10, authorize advertisement for bids project, renovation of elevators 7, 8, 9, and 10 at Mobile Government Plaza, North Tower.
So moved.
Second.
Number 11, approve award bid to ThyssenKrupp Elevator Corporation for 2020 elevator maintenance and service for Mobile County facilities for a total 36-month bid in the amount of $362,362.60.
So moved.
Second.
Number 12, approve professional service proposal for on-demand services with Highland Software, Inc. related to the use of the on-base information management system software management agreement so as to allocate additional resources to mitigate delays resulting from COVID-19 pandemic for the initial term of 2 quarters at a total cost of $5,560 and automatically renewable thereafter.
So moved.
Second.
Number 13, authorize acceptance of grant award and subrecipient agreement from Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for the extension of effluent force main from Beulah Battery wastewater treatment facility project in the amount of $15,933,091 with no match required, subject to final legal review.
So moved.
Second.
Number 14, approve adjusting the retiree health insurance rates from 30% for single coverage and 45% for family coverage to 25% for single coverage and 35% for family coverage effective July 1st, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Number 15, approve request from Mobile County Commission to determine whether or not the building or structure located at 7836 Carolyn Way, Theodore, Alabama, constitutes a public nuisance. Legal owner has not responded to the county official 60-day letter in which to file a written request for a hearing before the Mobile County Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Number 16 was voted on. Number 17, authorize memorandum of understanding with the town of Dauphin Island, Alabama regarding development and implementation of the West End Management Plan as described in the Alabama Trustee Implementation Group's Final Restoration Plan 3, pending legal review.
So moved.
Second.
Number 18, authorize acceptance of grant award and execution of the subrecipient agreement from the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources for the West End Management Plan in the amount of $730,000 with no match required, subject to final legal review.
So moved.
Second.
Number 19, approve contract with WAS Inc. to add design services for a waterline extension design and related items for Escataba Hollow Park and Campground for a fee in the amount of $72,800.
So moved.
Second.
Number 20, approve a third amendment to the health services agreement between Mobile County, the Sheriff of Mobile County, and NAFCare Inc. that commencing May 1st, 2020, any per diem compensation adjustment is suspended for the remaining term of the agreement through and including July 31st, 2020.
Anything else to add to that, Jay? Are we good?
I think we're good. I would ask the commission to consider. I think it's in the county's best interest to do it.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Number 21, adopt a resolution changing the voting location at polling site number 19, Greater Allenville AOH Church of God, to Chickasaw Park.
So moved.
Second.
Number 22, consider taking the following action on bids.
That's supposed to be tobacco. It still says cigarette. I thought we changed it to tobacco tax.
Oh, it's, mine says tobacco.
Mine says
Mobile
cigarette.
County cigarette tax thing.
Now, wait a minute. I'm going off my old one.
I'm on the new one. Ours still says cigarette.
It still says.
Yeah, it does. Interesting.
I see what you're saying.
Second.
Number 23, approve 36-month lease agreement with Sharp Electronics Corporation, 41 Sharp MX 3071, in the amount of $133.29 per month from the current state Alabama contract for the finance department.
So moved.
Second.
And I made, you can record me as making the motion on 22. I'm not sure I ever did. I made the motion and Commissioner Ludgood seconded.
Okay, gotcha. Number 24, voted at the conference. 25, approve posting established park rules and guidelines for all county recreational parks.
So moved.
Second.
26, recommend approving agreement for the sale of wetland mitigation credits with Alabama Port Venture LLC for project Ziegler Boulevard. The estimated cost in Mobile County is $876.
So moved.
Second.
27, hold a public hearing so any citizen of the county shall be given the opportunity to present data, views, and arguments concerning the Commission's intent to apply for transportation alternative funds through Mobile Metropolitan Planning Organization to construct and/or repair curves, ramps in the unincorporated area of Mobile County.
Real quick, let's call the meeting to order. Dana, do we have anyone here that's here to speak for or against this issue?
No, Commissioner.
All right. Go ahead, Glenn.
Number 28, recommend authorizing acquisition of property and an acceptance of right-of-way deed from the following property owner for the following project.
So moved.
Second.
29, recommend approving a commitment letter and adopting a resolution to apply for fiscal year 2021 TAP funds from the Mobile Metropolitan Planning Organization. These funds will be used to construct the Americans with Disabilities Act compliant curb ramps at various locations in the unincorporated areas of Mobile County. Also authorize the President of the Commission to sign all related documents to the application.
So moved.
Second.
Number 30, recommend approving a commitment letter and adopting a resolution to apply for fiscal year 2021 TAP funds from Mobile Metropolitan Planning Organization. These funds will be used to construct the Americans with Disabilities Act compliant curb ramps at various locations in the unincorporated area of Mobile County. Also authorize the President of the Commission to sign all related documents to the application.
These are are separate areas of the county. Is that what we've got going here?
They are, Commissioners. We had one application worked up several months back, and then we found out that they were going to allow multiple applications this year, so we worked up another one.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good.
Number 31, recommend approving preliminary and
Did you
final.
So moved.
Second.
Number 31, recommend approving preliminary and final plat of Steel Estates and approving preliminary and final plat of re-subdivision of lots 2 and 3, Magnolia Estates.
So moved.
Second.
32, recommend approving supplemental agreement number 3, addendum number 1, ALDOT audit to the contract dated July 22nd, 2015 for the professional consulting services with Volker Inc. for the Jeremiah Denton Airport. The supplemental agreement number 3, addendum number 1, will provide for the design, bidding, and construction inspection of the replacement runway 12/30, medium intensity runway lights, and an elevated replacement electrical vault. Revised estimate fees not to exceed $121,539.79. Estimated cost to the county is $6,077, or 5% of the fee reference in the February 26, 2020 minutes. Agenda item.
So moved.
Second.
Number 33, recommend approving releasing Burke Klein Peter Inc. from Part 3 Construction Administration and Quality Assurance and Part 4 Final Documentation and Closeout of the Professional Engineering Services Contract of Project for Westlake Road North due to not being able to provide the proper staff or the expected quality of service. Burke Klein Peter Inc. has requested that they be released from the noted sections of the contract dated January 30th, 2015.
So moved.
Second.
34, recommend approving reassignment of Part 3 Construction Administration and Quality Assurance and Part 4 Final Documentation and Closeout of the Professional Engineering Services Contract for Project Westlake Road North to Thompson Engineering, Inc.
So moved.
Second.
35, recommend approving non-reimbursable agreement for relocation of water line on Dawes Road with the Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners of the City of Mobile for facilities in conflict with widening, resurfacing, and stripping Dawes Road from Scott Dairy Loop Road south to Cottage Hill Road. There is no cost to Mobile County.
So moved.
Second.
We have one add-on. Number 1, approve CIP 2019-002B, purchase of one new portable restroom trailer for the Mobile County Soccer Complex from Core Construction, Inc. under the current National Cooperative Purchasing Alliance contract number at the cost of $74,149.76.
Question,
And-
where's this 74,000 coming from?
The District 2 CIP.
Okay, that's good enough.
And
It's
the
just-
74,000, that amount may be altered. As of this morning, we were discussing hand dryers, which may be deleted from the overall cost. So I guess if whatever's appropriate to say up to 74,000, or however it's most appropriate to state that.
We like it when we can save money.
And this is going to be permanent? This will be a permanent?
No, actually, this will be, then this is, at this cost, this is a nice portable restroom, and it's got ADA section and everything.
Like it, hostel?
Yeah, it's got, I think, three or four stalls for women and, 2 for men. It will be there until we can put the concession restroom building in place, and once we put it in place, we'll move it to another side of the park. So it will be there for a good while.
Good. All right. Fantastic. Okay.
Did you?
So moved.
Second.
And we are moving back to number 3. Number 3, hold a public hearing to receive citizens' comments regarding the draft of the 2020-2024 Consolidated Plan, the 2020-year One Action Plan, and the analysis of the impediments to fair housing choice. This information is available for public review between April 15, 2020 and May 15, 2020. The comment period ends at 5:00 p.m. on May 15, 2020.
Do we have slides and videos with this?
Commissioner, if you would just give us a moment to set it up and we'll be
Okay,
starting
because
it.
I'm going to need to move because I can't look straight
It's
up.
It can
slides.
look like that.
And while they're setting up, we've received confirmation that the correct polling site was 2 instead of 6, and we'll make that change.
Technology. I think we'll go ahead and we'll pretend we can see the PowerPoint. Ah, there we go. Something is happening. Okay, great. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to present some highlights from the county's draft 5-year consolidated plan, 1-year annual action plan, and fair housing study. Before we start, Kathy? Before we start, since this presentation is live streaming, a little bit of housekeeping. If anyone joining online has questions or comments during the presentation, you can send them by email to kathy.mchugh@mobilecountyal.gov, and we will try to respond in real time. We'll also have information about how to access and provide comments on the complete reports at the end of the presentation. As many of you know, the Consolidated Plan and Annual Action Plan serve as Mobile County's official application to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development so that the county can continue to receive grant funds for community development and affordable housing through HUD's CDBG and home programs, and if ESG is allocated. ESG is Emergency Solutions Grant. The Consolidated Plan is an overarching 5-year strategy that looks at what the county's priority needs are through 2024. The Annual Action Plan is focused on specific activities the county plans to undertake in 2020 using grant funds. We also did a study known as Analyses of Impediments to Fair Housing Choice, which HUD requires all grantees to prepare. This study looks at whether everyone in Mobile County has the same access to housing regardless of federally protected classes. This includes race, ethnicity, national origin, religion, sex, disability, and whether or not there are children in the household. If any of those impact housing choices, HUD asks grantees to look at and consider ways to reduce these barriers.
Excuse me, Near, could you move the microphone closer to you, please?
Before we get into the findings of each plan, I want to share a bit about the planning process. We began by collecting community input through surveys, interviews, and community meetings. Overall, we had about 160 residents and other stakeholders who provided input in one of these ways. We also used data from the U.S. Census Bureau, very important to be counted, HUD, local housing authority, and other community plans to help develop the drafts. We're now in the last phase of the planning process where the plans are available for public comments. After the comment period, which ends at 5 p.m. Friday, May 15, the plans will be finalized and submitted to HUD along with any comments we receive. Based on community input and other data, the Consolidated Plan identifies several priorities related to affordable housing and community development activities for the next 5 years. On the housing priorities, the county will focus on expanding the availability of affordable rental housing, assist homeowners with housing repairs or accessibility improvements, helping first-time home buyers buy their dream home, and work to prevent at-risk households from becoming homeless. Community, I think we've gone ahead. Oh, well, no, we haven't, sorry. Community development priorities will include providing a variety of services to residents, which includes improved facilities and infrastructure, working to demolish dilapidated structures and eliminate blight, and provide fair housing services. The projects listed on the next slide show some examples of the types of services and public improvements included in these priorities. So for the coming year, the county will receive 1,622,148 CDBG funds and 580,826 in home funds. Mind, this is the regular funding, not the CARES Act. And these are the specific projects the county plans to fund using the grant money. As you can see, this list includes several housing activities, emergency repairs assistance, and a ramp accessibility program, and the development of new rental housing. There are several projects focused on physical improvements, such as improvements to a senior center and street improvements. For public services, grants will be used to assist senior programs, youth programs, victims of child abuse, victims of domestic abuse, rape victims, and help people access prescription medication. Finally, a portion of both the CDBG and home grants will be used for program administration to cover the cost of the county's work in planning and administering these activities. Turning to the Fair Housing Study, I'll present the fair housing barriers identified in that report. Like the consolidated plan, these are based on input we received from the community as well as analyses of different data and maps. As mentioned before, HUD identifies housing impediments as any action, omission, or decision that restricts housing choice based on race, ethnicity, national origin, religion, sex, disability, or whether there are children in the household. Of the barriers identified in the analyses of impediments, the first couple focus on neighborhood improvements. The study showed that there are some gaps in access to economic opportunity and neighborhood infrastructure that impact some areas of the county more than others. Other barriers had to do with housing issues like affordability, accessibility, eviction, and home ownership that have a disparate impact on some protected classes. And I had already mentioned what the protected classes are. Lastly, the county will plan to continue its fair housing education efforts over the next 5 years. Finally, to read more about the consolidated plan, action plan, and analyses of impediments, you can view the complete reports by going to the Mobile County Grants Department's website and clicking on Plans, Policies, Amendment page. And if you would like to provide a question or comment after this meeting, you can send those to Naya Mardi by email to naya.mardi@mobilecountyal.gov or by mail to Mobile County Commission, P.O. Box 1443, Mobile, Alabama 36633. All questions and comments must be received by 5 p.m. Friday, May 15. Kathy, during this presentation, were there any emails that we received?
No, ma'am. No questions or comments.
Okay. Before we end this presentation, I'd like to thank Darren and Leroy for setting up all the IT stuff, Mosaic Consulting for the PowerPoint, and Kathy McHugh for manning the emails and for flipping the PowerPoints. She did Vanna White proud. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's a lot of information. Yeah, I can only imagine.
That was the Cliff Note version? Okay.
Very Cliff. All right. Glenn?
Number 36, Commission announcements and/or comments.
Commissioners?
I don't have anything.
I think that's it.
Number 37, approve request for motion to adjourn until May 26, 2020.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, everyone, and go eat at your favorite restaurant today.
Make sure
After 5.
After
It's
5?
effective at 5 p.m.
Really?
But I do have reservations tonight.
Do you?
I do.
I haven't thought that far ahead. I was going to lunch.
And my favorite restaurant, I've missed it.
What is your favorite?
Well, one of my favorites,
Oh, okay.
Via
Well,
Amelia.
yeah, you might- All right. Well, thank y'all and have a great week.
Would y'all make sure everybody knows that our next meeting will be on a Tuesday, and it starts at 9:30? So, okay.